Welcome to Shadows and Light, Gothic Lit and Comp. My name is Anna Knob, and I am so excited to get to teach this class for the upcoming school year. Some of our class objectives for Shadows and Light, these are the things that your students will know by the end of the course. Literary analysis. Students will develop critical reading skills to interpret and analyze key themes, motifs, and symbols in Gothic literature. They'll identify and evaluate literary devices such as irony, metaphor, and imagery used by authors. They'll analyze characters' motivations, development, and relationships within the historical and cultural context of the texts. They'll work on their writing skills. They get to compose analytical essays that incorporate textual evidence to support claims, practice creative writing exercises inspired by Gothic literature and genres. They'll refine grammar, sentence structure, and vocabulary through essay drafts and revision. Note and study skills. They'll use effective note-taking strategies during lectures and discussions to capture key points and support study habits. Organize notes in a manner that enhances understanding of complex literary concepts. Research. Students will investigate the historical and cultural background of key works of Gothic literature, including their authors and settings. They'll synthesize historical information to better understand how it influences themes, characters, and narrative style. Presentation and communication skills. Students will prepare and deliver presentations on literary works, authors, or related historical topics. They'll collaborate with peers on group projects and discussions, fostering teamwork and communication. Reading comprehension and fluency. Students will read and interpret a range of Gothic texts, both European and American. They'll engage with challenging vocabulary and syntax common to Gothic literature. They'll also explore literary criticism. Feminist, historical, and formalist are just a few that they'll apply to their Gothic texts. They'll develop the ability to articulate and defend a critical interpretation of a text. Some other key skills, real life stuff your students will need in their future. Writing a standard 5-paragraph essay. Students will learn how to take notes that they can then use to help them write. They'll outline their essay with a clear thesis and main points. Formatting a standard MLA essay, including in-text citations and bibliography, peer and self-editing, formal final copy submission. They'll also be working on presentations. They'll learn how to research to create a presentation, and then the actual art of creating a presentation using best practices and presenting a presentation in front of peers using natural rhythm, speed, and tone. And again, note taking. Students will learn how to take notes that are actually useful to them later to then use to create presentations, write their essays, and study for tests. Some reading skills, reading beyond pleasure. As I already talked about a little bit, we'll be working on literary criticism. At the end of this course, students should be able to successfully use various literary criticism lenses while reading. They'll be able to pull examples from a reading and apply a literary lens to interpret and understand. They'll have the opportunity to use literary criticisms that students may not naturally lean towards or use to explore literature outside of their normal. They'll be able to identify, explain, and analyze a text using literary criticism. Character analysis. Students will be able to select a character and give appropriate analysis of that character using examples from a story. Students will be challenged to ask the question why when assessing a character's behavior and motives. Reading between the lines. Literature is so rarely just the black and white words on the page. Students will be able to identify and explain examples of literary devices like metaphor, allegory, allusion, etc. Students will look beyond the words of the page to determine plot movement, character development, and intentionality of authorship. And then we have our units. Each unit has a topic board that will appear once we get to that unit. These are visible to both parents and students. Each topic board contains a breakdown of readings, which usually includes page numbers, chapters, and last lines. In some cases, it also includes copies of or downloads of the works we're using, and any resources your student will need for assignments for the unit, including study guides, notes sheets, formal assignment descriptions and rubrics, video or podcast links, and discussion boards are all right there for you and them to have access to. Formal assignments, or the Core Four. Each semester, along with regular homework and classwork, students will complete 4 core assignments: a presentation, a 5-paragraph essay, a creative assignment, and an exam. These core 4 are all worth 100 points, allowing your student to work on skills they may have never done before, while also having the opportunity to really excel in other areas. Students are encouraged to think out of the box using unique presentation methods and alternative resources like Legos, Minecraft, and sculpture to fulfill assignment requirements. The week before exams or finals, we have class review where we go over every answer to the test. I usually reword the question, flip it around a bit, but the information on the test is reviewed the week before. Exams are closed book, closed note, but between studying and review, they have strong foundations for success. Redemption. It can be very easy to get lost in the dark, to be overcome by the twists, the horrors, the impending darkness, in literature and in this world. Throughout this class, we will be focusing on the themes and ideas of redemption and redeeming. No matter how cold a story may be, there are sparks of light. And for our first semester, the first few weeks, we'll be doing an introduction to Gothic literature. What is it? Its origins. And we'll be reading The Castle of Otranto by Horace Walpole, the first Gothic novel. The following weeks, we'll be looking at Gothic heroines and villains and reading Frankenstein and doing a really fun villain creation project. Weeks 7 and 9, we'll be looking at the supernatural and uncanny, fear of the familiar becoming strange. We'll be reading classics like The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe and The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gilman. Then we get some more Poe in weeks 10 to 12, reading things like The Fall of the House of Usher, looking at isolation, madness, and decay. We'll be rounding out the semester with the submission of the last of our formal assignments, the review for the exam, and exam. Throughout the first semester, students will also get to do this really cool research project, Modern Prometheus, Ethics, Faith, and Innovation in Biotechnology. Students will examine the ethical implications of biotechnological advances by connecting them to both Gothic literature themes and a Christian worldview, exploring questions of identity, humanity, stewardship, and ethical limits in light of biblical teachings. Students will research a biotechnical innovation, participate in class discussions, write a paper with their research connection to Gothic literature and biblical perspectives, and present their finding and stances. In the second semester, we'll be looking at the Gothic and the Sublime, reading many short stories, including A Rose for Emily. We'll move on to Gothic in the modern area, reading pieces like Rebecca and The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. Week 7 and 9, we'll be looking at Gothic film and writing and analyzing clips from Gothic movies and shows for their themes. Weeks 10 to 12, we'll be looking at writing Gothic literature and working on their writing pieces. And just like in the first semester, the end of the semester, we'll be doing formal assignments due, review for their exam, and their Gothic story final draft will be due. Having spent the fall semester focusing on reading, analyzing, and learning Gothic literature, students will work through the spring semester on writing a Gothic short story. This will be under 10 pages and include a specific and include specific assignments on characterization, theme, setting, and explicit psychology and sociology. Students will upload weekly drafts and be given class time to work with partners and small groups for peer feedback, editing, and constructive criticism. I so look forward to teaching this class in the fall. And if you have any questions, we would love to hear from you. And I hope to see you guys next year. Have a great day. Bye.